You are a lot closer to a top 1% physique than you realize. A lot of guys overcomplicate this process. They think they need to go in crazy bulks, eat everything in sight, gain a ton of fat, and then eventually try pull that off, and they're magically going to look fantastic. But in reality, you most likely do not need that much more muscle. What you need is better. Better proportions, lower body fat, more detail and separation. This is what truly separates an average physique from a top 1% elite physique. And you do not need to be as heavy as you think you are. And you'd be very surprised at how heavy or how much they weigh your favorite influencer or your favorite aesthetic physique really is. A lot of you are probably under the impression you need to look like Chris Bumstead. You need to be well over 200 pounds and be shredded to look impressive, to have a jacked, elite-looking physique. And I grew up the exact same thing. I was reading all the bodybuilding magazines. I thought that if I was under 200 pounds, I was screwed. I was always going to look small no matter what. But in reality, the thing that actually makes you stand out in everyday life is looking more like a movie star, having a lean, proportionate, well-kept physique that shows that you're disciplined and you have self-control and you take care of yourself. You have standards for your life. That is really what's going to give you leverage in the day-to-day. And in reality, if you lose 10 pounds of fat, that is going to magnify your physique way more than maintaining the same amount of 15 to 25% body fat and adding 10 more pounds of muscle. That 10 pounds of muscle is not going to look that impressive in comparison to shredding off some of that fat, showing your real conditioning, and having your muscles look separated and pop against the skin. 5 pounds of lean muscle tissue added to your physique will literally make you look like a different person. And a lot of people, when they go in these bulks, they're trying to add 10, 20 pounds. But in reality, 17 of that 20 is just fat. It's just excess fat that is slowing down the whole muscle building process. Your insulin sensitivity is worse. You can't partition the nutrients as well. You lose your confidence. You don't even like the way you look. And that's the whole point of getting in shape. That's probably why you started. You were insecure. You didn't like what you saw in the mirror, and you wanted to be proud of the body you built. You want to be staying lean. This is the real cheat code. And then we want to start putting the muscles in the right places. See, having an aesthetic physique and making it look impressive is all about the illusion of being bigger than you are, and it's all about the contrast. So you want a tiny waist, and you get that from being low body fat. You want a dense, thick midsection, so you want your abs well developed, but to keep your waist tight. So we want to kind of stray away from training our obliques too much. You want massive delts and big arms that come down to the small waist, and then well-developed quads. Everything is an illusion to make the waist, the centerpiece of the physique, look smaller. The more control you have over your physique and maintaining this low body fat year-round, while also building that contrast in your proportions, is what really displays your physique the best way it can be displayed. That's what really shows power and control and all the traits that women find more attractive and people respect. And I can tell you this from personal experience, guys. I've bulked up and I've been around 14, 15% body fat, way bigger than I am now, closer to 195, 200 pounds. And right now I'm sitting around 10% body fat at 100, 182 pounds. And people find my physique on a daily basis much more impressive. I can tell by the interactions I have, what people say, even my friends. People prefer a leaner physique. It's just the way it is. Your physique looks bigger. People will literally say once you lose 10 pounds of fat and you start getting to 10 to 12% body fat, people will say, hey, did you get bigger? Because the visual appearance is what matters when we're trying to build this aesthetic top 1% physique. And we're going to break down some of the numbers so you have a reference point of what you actually need to weigh to have a good physique. Now, this isn't 100% accurate, but it gives you a really good idea of how much you need to weigh for your height to really display your physique in the most aesthetic way possible. You need to remember that two physiques at the exact same weight and the exact same body fat can look drastically different. For example, if you were a guy, you're 6 foot, 180 pounds, but you specialize in squats and deadlifts and you barely train upper body and you see it's just accessory work for your powerlifting movements, you're going to have huge glutes and legs, but no real upper body size, and you're not going to look impressive at all. You're going to look like a T-Rex compared to the guy that focuses on the correct proportions. He trains his legs, but he wants separated quads that are athletic, that look good, that emphasize his small waist. He focuses on building cap delts, a full chest, a tight waist, big arms, all the things we mentioned earlier. That physique will look 100 times better. 100 times better than the guy that just focuses on squat and bench. And I tell you guys, working out's really simple, but you still need to make sure you're putting muscle in the right places. Now I'm going to give you guys some height-based references and some measurements that you kind of want to be aiming for when your physique really starts to stand out. So if you're 6 foot and 178, 182 pounds around there, 10% body fat, even 11%, you're going to have an elite top 1% physique. Now, every inch of height you're adding or subtracting, you want to be removing or adding about 7 pounds. So if you're 5'8" and you weigh 152, 155 pounds, your physique's going to be absolutely elite. And that's how little you need to weigh, but you will look like you're 20 pounds heavier if you're in good condition and you have muscle in the right places. We don't build the T-Rex physique. We build the proportionate, lean, aesthetic physique, and we actually put some thought into our training. In terms of some key measurements you want to be aiming for, if you can get your shoulders around 50 inches or above, your arms above 16, your waist below 30, and your quads above 24, your physique's going to be elite, especially at low body fat. That's all you need to do, and for the majority of you, that is very, very achievable within your first few years of lifting. And most of you are probably already close to it right now, but you've never really got down to low body fat percentages and seen what your body is capable of looking like. See, this isn't a muscle building contest. When you go on a bodybuilding stage, no one asks you how much you weigh. It's about how the physique is presented, how all the muscles are in harmony together, the proportions from top to bottom, left to right, bicep to tricep, you name it. It's all about the total package. So stop when you go to the gym or when you're dieting, trying to do massive bulks, putting on as much size as possible, because you're not going to end up with the result you actually want. You need to think about the control, the harmony, and staying lean and putting muscle in the right places. You've all heard Arnold talk about when he was building his physique, when he was training, he was thinking like he was a sculptor, putting clay in certain places. You need to be doing the exact same thing, because this is truly, it sounds like bro science, but it's one of the best pieces of advice I could give you about building an aesthetic top 1% physique. And when you build this top 1% physique, where you look elite year round, this is when other areas of your life start rising to those standards. Because in reality, if you want to maintain this, you need to have a high baseline. You need to be sticking to eating clean food 80% of the time. You need to be training consistently. You need to be staying healthy, being active. You need to be taking care of yourself. And once you start doing this, you'll start noticing you'll just automatically start dressing better, changing your environment, hanging out with people that are more like-minded, and your overall presence is going to be more in control. You're going to be able to actually improve in every single area. It's like a rising tide raises all ships. You get your physique in shape, your mind is going to be clearer. You're going to have more clarity, and you're going to start analyzing and looking at other areas of your life and seeing how you can do the exact same thing. You want every single aspect of your life to be elite, not just your physique. And this is exactly how you do it, by getting the physique first. And if you guys want to do this, you want to expedite the process, you want a personalized system so you can do this, follow me on Instagram at Brasai, DM me the word elite. I will give you guys a free blueprint of the 3 core habits you can follow to make this effortless so you can actually integrate it into your life and do it over the next 6 months.